The firing of FBI Director Comey is putting some Republicans at odds with each other. We are joined now by Senator Lindsey Graham. He is the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime and Terrorism, which is one of those investigating Russia's meddling in the election. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Do you support President Trump's firing of Director Comey and the way he did it?
Yeah, I mean, it's his right to do so. I think Director Comey's a fine man, but Democrats called for his removal about 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago, and now he's gone, and we get a chance to pick a new director. Hopefully we all can agree on somebody's above reproach and move on.
You know, look, you heard President Trump say during the campaign and beyond that he liked what Director Comey did.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes, I'm sure you did. So does the timing of this give you any pause, given that, of course, the FBI, we know, is investigating the Trump team's ties to Russia?
Well, the one thing I can tell you without any hesitation, that the FBI's investigation of Russia is not tied to Comey's continued service. That will go forward with the professional investigators. The Senate will continue to do its job. The Democrats have had their problems with Comey. The president praised him at times. Now he's let him go. Yesterday, I spent a half a day talking about how Comey got it wrong between Huma Abedin and Weiner about the information that she supposedly passed to Anthony Weiner. Apparently it wasn't thousands of, classified documents, which I was under the impression it was. So everybody has had a problem with Comey. Everybody said good things about him. He's being replaced, and let's find a good replacement.
But why do you think it happened yesterday?
No, I don't know. All I can say is that it's been building. What he said about Anthony Weiner and Huma Abedin was pretty unnerving. I didn't know there were thousands of classified documents passed to Anthony Weiner, which would have been problematic. Apparently that wasn't right. The bottom line here is that we're going to move forward. The FBI will move forward. The subcommittee is going to move forward. The Intel Committee is going to move forward, and we'll find out. Here's what I know about Russia. They interfered in our elections. They need to be punished. I don't think they changed the outcome. I don't know if there's any collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. I haven't seen any evidence of that. And I don't know if there was any wholesale unmasking of American citizens inappropriately, but I've seen some concerns about that. We'll get to the bottom of all of it.
You're more confident than some of your colleagues are that you'll be able to get to the bottom of it. You know, we've heard from all sorts of lawmakers this morning who are calling for an independent counsel. Your dear friend and colleague, Senator John McCain, disagrees with your position on this. He says he's disappointed in the president's decision to remove James Comey from office.
Well, that's John's right. I love John. John's a great guy. The FBI investigation is not a criminal investigation. It's a counterintelligence investigation, and you don't have special prosecutors for counterintelligence investigations. However, if it does mature into a criminal investigation of the Trump campaign, then we'll talk about a special prosecutor. I joined John's call for a joint select committee where we have all relevant committees working together rather than separately. I think John's been right about that.
Well, he's calling for a special congressional committee to investigate.
Same thing. Same thing.
So you're calling for, but I mean, this is what is confusing. There are 5 committees already, congressional committees. What is it that they're not doing? Are you saying that the Americans should not have faith that they will be able to get to the bottom of it? Why is this extra body needed?
Well, it's not an extra body. The Judiciary Committee had a hearing, and I thought it was a pretty good one. Sally Yates, I thought she did a really good job for the country by going to talk about Flynn being compromised. I think she was right about that. Was 18 days too long? We can debate about that. But the Intel community is looking at a part of this. The Judiciary is looking at another part. What John and I are saying, what if you had a committee made up of the 4 or 5 committees where it was joint, where we're looking at the same thing rather than compartmentalized? That's what they did during Iran-Contra. I think that's what we should do here, is have the relevant committees working together, not separately. But I have a lot of faith in the Intel committee's investigation. Warner and Burr are doing a good job. I think me and White House are doing a good job, but I don't mind a joint select committee.
In terms of the motivation for why this happened and why it happened yesterday, do you believe that the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, was the impetus? Do you believe it was he who prompted President Trump, that he sent a memo to him in the morning and President Trump decided within, hours that, yes, Comey had to go?
Well, everybody says that Rob's a good guy, so I don't know if somebody made him do it. I doubt if he would do something he didn't really want to do. Let me tell you about Director Comey. Great man, He's tried to do what he thought was right at every stage, but let's look at it this way. The bottom line is it's not a specific intent crime to mishandle classified information. So when he said Clinton did nothing wrong, that really is an attorney general's job to do, not the FBI director. And I can see why Democrats were upset with the letter in October about the investigation being reopened. I think it probably did hurt Clinton. So everybody's had their concerns, and the Weiner-Abedin misstatement, it just had a cumulative effect. So I don't know what Rob did, but I know that he signed the letter, and I don't think anybody made him. And the bottom line is we're going to pick a new FBI director, and the investigation will go forward. Let's
talk about who that new new FBI director should be. If it were to be some of the names bandied about, such as, say, Governor Chris Christie or former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, real Donald Trump loyalists, how would you feel about that FBI investigation?
Well, I think we should pick somebody that our Democratic colleagues could rally around within reason. Now,
such as? I mean, who would you say?
I don't know. Rather than me throwing out a name, let's throw out a concept. Somebody who is trained in the profession, somebody who's practiced the profession of either prosecuting or investigating, somebody who has a reputation among both parties as being a good man or a woman, and see if we can get that person confirmed. Here's what Harry Reid did. He made it possible for Republicans to pick somebody without any Democratic input. That's what happens when you change the rules. But here's my view of this. I'm not looking for somebody who can get just Republican votes. I'm looking for somebody that can get some Democratic support too.
Senator, do you think it's possible that President Trump fired Director Comey because President Trump doesn't like the investigation into the ties between his team and Russia?
I think this, whether he likes it or not, is going to continue. Firing Director Comey won't stop the investigation. I can tell you this is Wednesday, May, whatever day it is. I've yet to find any evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. I don't know about this unmasking, but I want to keep looking. I don't know of any improper business ties between the Trump world and Russia, but I'm very curious about all things Russia, what they're doing in our elections today. The president's meeting with Lavrov today. It's okay to want to work with the Russians, but I hope, Mr. President, you know who you're dealing with. You're dealing with a man who represents a government that is brutal, that tried to undermine our elections, and be careful. These are not teddy bears you're dealing with.
Did you see that photo op that Rex Tillerson, Secretary of State, just had with Sergei Lavrov?
No.
Well, they were asked about this, and reporters wanted to know what Sergei Lavrov's response to this. We're playing it on our screen right now, and let me see if you can, well, I don't know if it will get to the audio.
Describe it to me.
Okay, basically, he feigned ignorance. Sergei Lavrov pretended that he didn't know anything about it. Listen to this, Senator.
Does the Comey firing cast a shadow over your talks, gentlemen?
Was he fired?
The U.S. supports
yes. You are kidding. You are kidding.
He says,
Can
you're
you
kidding?
Translate for me?
Yes,
sorry,
I mean, I will, because he says, you're kidding, you're kidding. Then he shakes his hand and he gives them a dismissive gesture. I mean, is this all sort of a laughing stock? Is this to be, what do you think of Russia not taking this seriously?
Taking what seriously?
The fact that there's an investigation and that the director of the FBI who was spearheading this investigation was unceremoniously fired yesterday.
Well, you know, I don't really care what the Russians think about who we pick as FBI director. I think the Russian government at the highest level authorized the hacking of the DNC and Podesta's email. I think the Russian government tried to interfere in our election. They didn't change the outcome in my view, but they did try to help Clinton. I think they're doing this in France, and they're headed to Germany. So when it comes to Russia, it's an autocratic dictatorship. They're complicit, in my view, in the chemical attack against the Syrian people. I find it impossible to believe the Russians did not know there were chemical weapons on the air base they jointly occupied with the Syrians. I want to punish the hell out of Russia.
Senator Lindsey Graham, we appreciate you being on New Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.